Good morning, students. In the last two sessions, we have discussed about various classifications of fiber. Today, we are going to see about the properties required for a textile fiber. See, here I have listed the properties into two categories. One is essential properties, the another classification is desirable properties. So, what do you mean by essential properties or desirable properties? Essential properties means the textile fiber compulsory should have some properties which is needed to convert it as a yarn. Okay, and desirable properties. These properties are not compulsory. These properties maybe or may not be available in the fiber. Okay. Now we are going to see about the essential properties. Now the list of essential properties are length, staple length it may be called as, and strength. The another word of tensile strength or tenacity, and next one is fiber fineness, and the fourth one is uniformity, and the fifth one is spinnability. These five properties are essential for a textile fiber. Next, the desirable properties. So some of the desirable properties are absorbency, elasticity, cohesion, resilience, porosity, plasticity, color, leisure, and static electrical resistance. Okay, first we will discuss about the essential properties which are required for a textile fiber. Okay, length. So if we want to convert a fiber into yarn, the fiber should have minimum length. Then only it can be converted into the yarn. So the length is a essential. That means it is one of the essential property for the textile fiber. So for example, in case of cotton fiber, it is a natural fiber. It comes from the seed. So the fiber which is having a minimum staple length are converted as a yarn. If the fiber is less than the minimum staple length, it cannot be converted as a yarn, so it is considered as a waste. So in case of natural fiber, the length is a primary property for converting it as a yarn. Okay, next one is strength. So in case of fiber, the strength is also called as tensile strength or tenacity. So what do you mean by strength? The strength is ability of the fiber to withstand the load. So what is the difference between the strength and tensile strength? In case of fiber, we are applying load in a vertical direction. That is, the force or stress is applied vertically on the fiber. So when the load is applied on the fiber, the molecules present in the fiber, it extracts. So at the time, up to the particular limit only, the fiber can withstand the strength. So the strength imparts an important role to convert the fiber into the yarn. The fiber is having more strength, it provides we can convert the stronger fiber to the stronger yarn. And if the fibers are weak, means we can't produce a stronger yarn. So if we want a final product, that is the end use yarn should be stronger, means we should use the fiber with the major or more strong. Okay, and the unit of strength, we denote strength in terms of gram per denier. So the gram denotes the weight of the fiber and denier denotes fiber fineness. So in a 1 denier fiber can withstand a particular amount of load. So this unit, the unit that is the gram per denier, represents the amount of load withstand or acceptable by the fiber. Okay, next we can see about the fineness. So in case of natural fiber, fineness imparts major role, and also the price of the fiber is also based on the fineness and length. So fineness means thickness. Fineness means thickness of the fiber. So in case of cotton fiber, the fineness can be based on its thickness. So the finer fiber costs more, and coarser fiber, coarser means very thick yarn. So coarser fiber costs less. Okay, so in the fineness, from fine fiber we can produce fine yarn. In textile market, fine yarn costs more. And one more thing, from the finer fiber we can produce finer yarn, and finer yarn provides a good quality fabric. So only the finest imparts a major role in case of fiber properties. And next one is uniformity. We know that what do you mean by uniformity? The evenness in the surface of the fiber. If the fiber have thick and thin places means we can't produce a stronger yarn. That is, the surface structure of the fiber plays an important role in its strength. Okay, so the fiber should uniform structure from the one end to another end. So from the uniform fiber only we can produce stronger yarn. If the fiber is having thick and thin places means it tends to break while converting the fiber into yarn. So we can't produce a stronger yarn. Okay, and next one is spinnability. Spinnability, it is a very important property in case of natural fiber. What do you mean by spinnability? The ability of the fibers to convert into yarn, that is known as spinnability. For example, there are lots of fibers we have discussed in the last classes. So all the fiber should not have spinnability naturally. For example, I have already told in a definition, the fiber is a hair-like substance, isn't it? Right. Okay, take example of human hair. The fiber should be converted into the yarn by twisting it together, right? So can you imagine, can we twist our hair and convert it as a yarn? No, we can't, because our fiber, our hair, the human hair doesn't have the property of spinnability. So we can't convert our hair into yarn. So how the property plays a role in converting the fiber into yarn? In case of cotton yarn, we take bunch of cotton fibers. Okay, we will twist it into by hand means the fibers hold together. The twist doesn't release. Okay, so the fiber hold together. So this is the property of the fiber which makes it as a yarn. So majority natural fibers are having this spinnability naturally. For example, cotton and jute and also the wool. So these fibers are having naturally in its structure, they are having convolutions or curls. So whatever it is, the waviness, it is naturally available in the fiber. So it leads the fiber to the property of spinnability. So the spinnability of the fiber means the ability of the fiber to convert into the yarn. Okay, so I once again discussed about the essential properties. One is length. So the longer fiber produce a stronger yarn, because the length increases means the wholeness between the fibers are more. So it tends to stronger the yarn. Okay, next one is strength. I have already told strength is the ability of the fiber to withstand the load. Okay, so strength is very important to produce stronger yarn. And next one is fineness. So the fineness is a factor which decides the price of the fiber. Okay, and uniformity, so it also helps to produce stronger yarn. And spinnability, this is an important property which makes the fiber to convert it as a yarn. So these 5 factors or these 5 properties are very important for a textile fiber. Okay, so most of the natural fibers are having, and also most of the natural fibers are having these properties. Okay, next we switch over to the desirable properties. So in case of these desirable properties, these properties are not available. Sometimes, not all the properties are not available in the textile fiber. The first property is absorbency. So what do you mean by absorbency? The ability or the property of absorbing the water. The affinity towards liquids, the affinity towards dye stuff is known as absorbency. The absorbency is based on the molecules present in the fiber. So if we discuss in detail, the physical structure of all fiber molecules contains amorphous region and crystalline region. The crystalline region, the molecules are arranged tightly. In amorphous region, the molecules are arranged with some spaces. So the amount of amorphous region present in the fiber gives the absorbency property to the fiber. For example, in case of cotton fiber, it contains some amount of crystalline and some amount of amorphous region in its molecular structure. So the amorphous region present in the fiber, that means there is a space between the molecules. It allows the water penetrate into the fiber molecule, right? So this is a absorbency. And in case of polyester fiber, it is mostly comprised of crystalline region. The amorphous region is very, very less. In maximum, the man-made fibers are hygroscopic, not hygroscopic, it is hygrophobic in nature. So the hygrophobicity, that means the water doesn't penetrate into the yarn. Okay, so in some fiber are having absorbency and some fibers are not having absorbency, but the desirable property is absorbency. If the fiber is having the water absorbency properties, it is easy for us to treat it for some textile wet processing, that is dyeing, printing and also washing, so to give additional finishes are easy for the fabric. But if the fiber is not hygroscopic, that is, it is hygrophobic in nature, means we need, that means it is necessary to give additional treatment to the fiber to make it absorbent. Okay, so absorbency is one of the property required for the textile fiber, but it is not essential, some desirable property. Okay, so absorbency may not available, sometimes it is maybe available in the fiber. And next one is elasticity. So we know that, what do you mean by elasticity? If we apply load or stress on a fiber, the fiber extends up to certain level. It should extend. That means the fiber should not stiff. The fiber should have some elastic property. Then only it is easy to convert it as a yarn, and when the yarn is converted to the fabric, it gives some comfortness to the wearer. So elasticity, it also not essential, it is one of the desirable property of the fiber. Okay, next one is cohesion. So cohesion, I have already told the spinnability and cohesion, and one more point, that is crimp. These 3 points are interrelated one another. So what do you mean by cohesion? That is, the fiber should stick together. When it is twisted together, the fibers hold together, hold one another. So this property is known as cohesion. This property is known as cohesion. So based on this property only the spinnability comes. Okay, so cohesion, it is a property of the fiber to hold one another. And crimp, the crimp means the waviness or curves present in the fiber. In most of the natural fibers, the crimp are naturally present in the fiber. I have already told, that is, the cotton fiber is having convolutions and wool fiber is having scales on its surface. So these types of crimp or waviness or the structures present in the fibers gives cohesion to the fiber. So this leads to the spinnability. But in case of man-made fibers, as we are manufacturing the fibers through the spinneret, we are deciding the structure of the fiber or filament. So the fibers are very circular in nature, very smooth in surface, but there is no any crimp on it. But after manufacturing the filament, we can artificially give the crimp or waviness to the fibers or filament. Okay, so natural fibers are having cohesion or crimp. In man-made fibers, we have to introduce the waviness on the filament, so after manufacturing it. Okay, it is a separate process, but the crimp or cohesion, it is an important property which leads to spinnability, right? Okay, next, resilience. So resilience, it simply resembles to the elasticity. That is, when the load is applied, after removing the load, it should spring back to its original position. That is known as resilience. So when the load is applied, the fiber extends to some extent. So after removing the load, it should come back to its original position. So this is known as resilience. Okay. In case of wool fiber, it is the wool fiber is having higher elasticity, but in some fiber it having the resilience property. And next one is porosity. So porosity and absorbency are interrelated. So I have already told the amorphous region provides the space for entering the water molecule into the fiber structure. So this is known as porosity. Pore means holes. So the holes present in the fiber molecules enables the fiber to absorb more water. So this is known as a porosity. And plasticity. So what is the property of plastic? When the heat or any external forces applied, the structure of plastic is changed. Even after removal of the heat or load, it keeps on the new stage. So it doesn't come back to its original stage. So it is entirely opposite to the elasticity. So this type of property is also required in some end uses. So the plasticity is also one of the desirable property. And color. Naturally, some fibers are having color. For example, silk and wool and jute. So they are having naturally some colors. Okay. So the color is a desirable properties. If it is not colored, that is not a problem. We can introduce color or we can apply color on the fiber. But some fibers are having colors in nature. Next one is lustre. Lustre means shining. So the shining of the fiber adds value to the aesthetic appearance. So mostly we know that silk is a very shining fiber. Okay, and also some man-made fibers are also shining in nature. To increase the shining, we can add some chemicals during the spinning process of the man-made fiber to enhance its shining or lustre. And the last one is static electrical resistance. Some fiber are having the property of creating a static electricity due to the friction. So wool fiber is having this property. So there is a problem in it, that is because of friction, if the fiber produce static electricity means it creates more problem in spinning process. Because the spinning is carried out, the fibers are moving in between the rollers, metal rollers. If the fiber having the capable of creating static electricity due to friction means the fibers stick on the rolls. The fibers stick on the rolls, so the fibers can't drag out or drawing out to the next process. So the fiber should have static electrical resistance. That means due to friction, the fiber should not create or should not possess any static electricity. So wool fiber is having static electricity, but we can hide or we can remove this property by spraying some chemicals before spinning. So these are some of the desirable properties we have discussed once again. That is absorbency, and also it is interrelated with the porosity I have already told, and absorbency, elasticity, cohesion and crimp, resilient, the porosity I told no, and next plasticity, color, lustre, static electrical resistance. So these are the desirable properties which are required for the textile fiber. So okay students, today we have discussed what are the properties should textile fiber possess. So there are essential properties and desirable properties. Okay students, we will see in the next class with a different topic. Thank you.